Twin Bill, where you can get your fill of hosts Jason and Marcus talking about movies and stuff. You know you never can get enough. A twin is two people who are related. Twin Bill. This season is Razzie Mania. Hello, and welcome to Twin Bill, the podcast where the twins talk about a bill of movies. And this time it really is a twin bill because we're talking about Big Trouble. What other movie are we talking about, Marcus?
Gloria, I think they have your number, Gloria. They're in your area, Gloria. I don't know the rest of the song, Gloria.
Well, I think they found the alias, Gloria, that you've been living under. It's you on the left hand, Gloria. I guess, but
showing all the awards. That song makes you feel good.
yeah, it's a good song. I'm kind of surprised you pitched it. I'm a little more of the pop 80s head than you are. Yeah.
Better than Van Morrison, that piece of shit. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you made the reference on the pre-show notes we had. No. What's her face?
Laura Branigan,
No,
Gena Rowlands.
no. Patti Smith,
Oh,
the superior version of the Van Morrison song.
oh, yeah. I didn't think about that one at all. Okay.
Just a little angrier than Van Man. Okay, anyway, now we have that very exciting, well-produced opening song. How are you doing today of this taping, Marcus?
The camera's angled a little high. I apologize, but fresh cut. So feeling a little smaller. Head's not as hot. Good stuff.
Yeah. Uh yeah, I have a stand-up show on the 13th of June, and then I'm producing one on the 18th, and that was most of my day. Is I hired like 4 comedians for that. So yeah.
Well, you're producing comedy shows now.
Yeah. Yes, someday you'll have to come down to the beautiful Elks Lodge of Van Nuys and see my show. It's I don't know, but it's not worth the trip on its own. But
Yeah,
anyway,
maybe I could do a Dodger game or something
yeah,
too.
pretty cool. Anyway, did you watch anything this week aside from the Laura Branigan biopic in Big Trouble?
Uh, did I? No, busy with stuff. So sports is pretty much the only thing I watched. Otherwise, although I'm realizing I say a lot on the podcast, so I'm going to introduce, well, not a new segment, but just I'm going to answer this with a movie I was thinking about watching. I was listening to a podcast on In Cold Blood,
Yes,
and
Truman
they were
Capote.
describing the plot, and I decided I didn't want to spoil it, so I actually stopped the podcast, and I want to watch it. I have to rent it on Amazon, I think, but hopefully I can find time to rent In Cold Blood. The better movie than Coast to Coast. Uh, I said that in the wrong order. Better Robert Blake movie than Coast to Coast.
Both movies involve murderous rage, but one is just pathological to Robert Blake's identity as a human being.
What did you watch?
So this is scheduling of the recording. The last one was too late, and this one's too early. I watch movies on Fridays usually. So, of all the things I watched, regardless of recency, Kolchak the Night Stalker. It's on Peacock. It's the greatest TV show ever made. I'll fight for that. Very, very clever mix of news reporter and supernatural with that 70s TV production quality of writing. It's very good.
It's a
And
fun actor, whatever his name is.
I don't remember his name. The dad from Christmas Story. It's a very generic name, but great, good actor though. Uh, and then the thing that's out now, uh, Widow's Bay is excellent on Apple TV. I've taken classes with people who worked on that show because it's very UCB heavy, but mix of gothic horror and awkward comedy.
Who's I've heard the name, so who's on it? Who's famous on it?
Well, the star is was it Matthew Reese? Is that his name? The guy who played a Perry Mason, and it was in
Oh, that guy. He was in The Americans.
yeah. And the guy I took a class with, he's a small character, but also a writer on the show, Neil Casey. You probably recognize him by name, but he was in the 2016 Ghostbusters movie. I don't know. Anyway, and then I'm very disappointed in Spider Noir so far. I was The premise is not great for me because it's just basically a lazy film noir.
So you have the option of watching it in color or black and white.
Yes, I watch it in color because I'm a normal person. I don't like fake black and white, but you can watch the black and white version.
That's so weird to get choices. Do they want people to watch them both? Is it really the same action? And this,
So, people claim that it's better in black and white, but I don't believe it was optimally shot in black and white. It's not shot on film or anything. I mean, it's ridiculous.
okay, I'll eventually get to it. I'm watching these Marvel shows in release, and then Daredevil's next one up.
I don't think it's as good as the Marvel ones, but I guess you'll find out for it on your own. All right,
Eventually.
let's talk about these movies. We're gonna have a very what's the word? Chaotic back and forth talking about the production of Gloria and comparing it to the production of uh Big Trouble. Let's start with the director. Well, this one's easy because it's the same director. John
Although,
Can what?
just and seeing other Cassavetes films before this.
Okay, John.
Sorry,
Yes, John. Sorry, I was looking to say his name, John Cassavetes. Then you can start. John. Yes, go ahead.
sorry, I think I thought that was a given. John Cassavetes had much more control on the output in Gloria,
I was
correct?
gonna say that. Yes,
Sorry.
because you're kind of half saying my fun fact, which is actually that John Cassavetes did not want to direct either of these movies initially. He sold Gloria as a screenplay, but when his wife Gena Rowlands, we'll get to in a second, uh, got the lead role in Gloria, she requested her husband to direct the movie, so he did, which makes sense because they made gazillion movies together. And then the studio hired initially Andrew Bergman, the screenwriter for Big Trouble, to direct it. There was no reason why. I assume because he's not a very he never directed before. I don't think he ever directed actually. So the studio, I guess, got cold feet and hired John Cassavetes instead. I don't know if you read the. Did you read any quotes about the John Cassavetes issues with Big Trouble?
I didn't see any Cassavetes quotes. I saw Bergman quotes.
We'll get to that in a second. But the Cassavetes quote was that Big Trouble was an appropriate title for the movie, and he said, I'm summarizing, that the studio overrode a lot of his decisions on the content of the film. Yeah.
The way it seemed like it, because we'll get into it in more detail. It just did not feel like a Cassavetes film in
Yeah,
a lot of
pretty
ways.
blunt. It just it seems like you're. I don't. I'm trying to think of an equivalent of a crappy '80s action director, like a P- Peter Hyams or a Tony Scott, just like very like whatever '80s movie.
Well, just we'll get into it later, I guess. But this screwball, but
I say Mad
too
Cat
much
more than Screwball.
screwball.
Screwball has a certain thing about like romance and '30s movies and stuff. But anyway, so of course everyone knows who John Cassavetes is, but very briefly, you either know him as a very intense actor in Dirty Dozen or Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby is an excellent movie, obviously, and the pioneer of the kind of shugazi over talking American independent movie. They're all amazing. like Shadows, Woman Under the Influence. He's the goat of the independent cinema, in my opinion. Yeah. And Big Trouble is not like any of those movies. Gloria isn't either, really. Actually, Gloria's more of a traditional action movie with hints of John Cassavetes' wandering dialogue. Yeah. Well, let's
You,
talk about. Go ahead.
there's you like to use Seymour Cassell and Ben Gazzara, two critically underrated actors
I
in
was
his
thinking
film.
about watching this movie because obviously this is a I'm talking about Gloria, but mafia centric movie. Like Ben Gazzara as one of those mobsters would have been fucking awesome. I guess it's kind of too small of a part for him in a way, but
And also, he did use Peter Falk a lot, but
also not in Gloria. But yeah, yeah, the only one was Alan Arkin, not really linked to him. But get to that in a second, I guess. Let's talk about the screenplay. Yeah, John Cassavetes basically wrote everything he directed, except for Big Trouble. 3 years earlier than Gloria, he wrote Opening Night. I never saw it, but I might have actually watched it. Sometimes I forget the plot of Cassavetes movies, but Gena Rowlands as a actress has a nervous breakdown, very typical Cassavetes fare. And 4 years before Gloria came out, one of his weirdest movies, Killing of a Chinese Bookie. It sounds like a crime movie, but it's pretty much Ben Gazzara's one man show.
hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. I'm sure you saw this if you pull up Wikipedia or whatever, but Big Trouble was written by Warren Bogle, which is the alias that Andrew Bergman chose because he knew the movie was going to be terrible. Did you look up Andrew Bergman?
I'm looking at it now. What an amazing feature, your first one.
Oh, Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of his feature. He wrote a spec script under a different name. Mel Brooks bought the spec script, and he did have Bergman as a co-writer, but it's basically Mel Brooks fixed the screenplay.
Looks like Richard Pryor was also and a couple other people were.
Yes, and you know this probably, but Richard Pryor was supposed to play the Cleavon Little main character, but the studio panicked because Richard Pryor was doing all the drugs, and they didn't want a liability issue.
And he talked about lighting a fire under his ass while doing crack in a
Stop
stand-up.
your ass up real quick. That's a great Richard Pryor. Um, Andrew Bergman did write another probably much better Peter Falk Alan Arkin movie in 1979 called The In-Laws, which sounds almost exactly like this movie. Alan Arkin and Peter Falk are uh, they meet because their children are marrying, but it's another movie with an out of control criminal scheme. And this one they go to a like Banana Republic country and get involved in a international crime, but it sounds almost uncomfortably like the plot of Big Trouble.
Directed by Arthur Hiller, who wait, I'm thinking of Arthur Penn. Stupid Arthurs.
Arthur
Too many
Hiller
Arthurs.
did some interesting stuff, but he'd be another candidate for my generic '80s director list. Martin Brest, that'd be another one. Although he's pretty good, but still. Anyway, and then Andrew Bergman tanked his career in 1996. We'll see you on the podcast of Razzie movies when we talk about striptease. Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yep. So about the producers. Let's look briefly. Uh, Gloria was produced by a man named Sam Shaw. Mostly just did a bunch of Cassavetes movies, which makes sense. His one funny credit is that he was a producer on Simon and Simon, the detective show where Major Dad and his nerdy brother solve crimes. Gerald McRaney or Gerald Rainey, something like that.
Yeah, I didn't know his name. Get the guy with the mustache, right?
He always plays quasi Republican tough guys.
Well, you say it like it's a present tense. It's like in the 90s it stopped.
In heaven or at the retirement home. He still does it. uh, Big Trouble was produced by a guy named Michael O'Bell. Was featured on this podcast before because his track record is insane. All of his movies bombed. He produced Windows, which, as we talked about on this podcast, is one of my favorite Razzie movies ever made. Beautiful movie, but
Yeah,
take it to the box office. He produced Tears from the Sun, the Bruce Willis went crazy filming in the somewhere in Africa or something action movie that tanked. And then he
somewhere.
produced. Go ahead.
Just I was gonna say somewhere jungly,
Huh?
somewhere jungly. Not worth
Yes.
repeating.
Generally, yes, exactly. And then he produced Striptease. So Striptease is dominating the Big Trouble stat sheet. And
Oh yeah,
then one of the weirdest commonalities in a comparison podcast you'll ever see, the music of the score is done by the same man, and it's Bill Conti. And yeah, he did, of course, is best known for the remarkable uh, Rocky motif that has been used to death in
everything.
everything. Yeah, he also did the right stuff, which I never heard the sound to, but that's a pretty ominous movie for music. Um, I have in my notes. You'll probably disagree that uh, there's some commonality in this score for these two movies. He's going for like a quirky, actiony, bouncy thing.
Yeah,
Say it.
just the bounciness is to the 15th gazillionth level, and Big Trouble with stupid. Let's just call it Big Trouble theme.
Yeah, I agree. But they're both.
The rest of the soundtrack of that movie is like motifs, is like because his triplets are music prodigies.
I
So it's the
think,
rest of
yeah,
it's classical
we're gonna
riffs
talk
on
about that again.
classical
But
music.
the triplets sing a cappella versions of classical songs, so they have to go to Yale.
I'm sure they play their instruments well. Who knows if they actually play them? They did play them in a couple scenes at least, but um,
Cassavetes didn't want to bother to ask the studio if they could film like a concert hall or like practice with a piccolo or something.
ooh, sorry, I should be watching baseball while I'm recording.
Yeah, no Met came today, so I would have been doing the same, I guess. But all right, moving on. Yeah, let's go through the cast. Like I mentioned, it's gonna be very chaotic, going back and forth with the between movies. So Gloria stars Gena Rowlands as Gloria. By the way, I love saying Jenna for that spelling because good choice.
Is that
Jenna,
pronounced G?
it's Jenna.
Okay,
I never heard otherwise.
I never heard a lot of experience with GNA. Jana.
Jenna. She played GLORIA. All right, all right. Dun,
There you
dun,
go.
dun, 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 dun. Uh, anyway, she plays Gloria, a tough broad and former girlfriend of a mafioso trying to project the boy. Uh, she is one of the most of all the actresses I've watching so many movies. She's very good at manipulating her face to create emotions. She
I
was
know
like
she goes from
Cran Command and
she goes from Dirty Harry to one scene to um wisecracking with her ex-mob boyfriend in another scene. It's just she's incredible. I've never seen Coal Miner's Daughter, but give her take the Oscar from Sissy and give it to Jen.
yeah. Yeah, and also because it's like she wasn't she was she was definitely not retiring in 1980, but as a culmination of her independent career and stuff, she should have won the freaking Oscar. But yeah, all right. This movie came up 6 years after another movie she should have won an Oscar for, A Woman Under the Influence. That's basically her one woman show in a Cassavetes movie. And then I don't think we watched these, but she found a second life playing old ladies in boring romantic comedies slash dramas.
Like what?
She was an old lady in Hope Floats, and she plays old Rachel McAdams in The Notebook. That's like what most people know her for now. Yeah.
Oh wow, so she outlived John big time.
Yeah. John was racing for an early grave with the alcoholism and
Probably chain
rage
smoking.
issues. Yeah. Directing Big Trouble was was Big Trouble as it turned out. And then in Big Trouble we have Peter Falk as Steve Ricky, a cartoonishly eccentric millionaire. He's so cartoonish you can't tell if he's a patsy for a murder plot or organizer of a secret money scheme. I mean, you could tell, but it was a very abrupt change of plot.
God, I think with Peter Falk, you have to rein in the Falk, calm the Falk down. And this movie, I don't know if it's Cassavetes or other that how it was edited. He is unrestrained to a horrifying degree in this movie. I know we're gonna get to see specific things later, but the faces he makes in the pharmacy when he's pretending to have a heart attack.
Well, just that joke that like, excuse me, I'm having a heart attack. Can you stand here so my wife doesn't see me having the heart attack?
It would better if he said that instead of going,
He did say that. He did both. He wanted to hide the heart attack from his wife, and then he showed his face to the wife instantly.
surprised he said anything. I was so distracted by his facial gestures, obviously.
He did talk a lot. But anyway, talk about Peter Falk's career. Obviously, he's best known for playing Columbo. This movie came out in '86, which is still well within the range of his 23-year run of various Columbo projects. I think there were some movies in there and stuff, but he played
Uh,
Columbo
one,
forever.
one more thing. I need another TV movie, feature film series.
Can I
One
get
more
a?
thing.
I would like a Netflix revival if you don't mind. I can't do the voice. But,
I'm dead now, but please produce it.
And then a much more fun fact in this movie, Big Trouble was a year before The Princess Bride when they gave him old man makeup to look like Grandpa. So there you go. Yeah.
He's wonderful in that. So just he he can be all over the place
He's a
in
good
terms of
actor.
drama.
He was in the good Cassavetes movies. And then we have very short role, but in Gloria we have Buck Henry as Jack Don, an accountant on the run from the mob.
That was because just think of it as such a comedic guy and so dead serious.
I'm just not around very much, but yeah. Best known as a writer, he wrote The Graduate, Catch 22 film, also starring Alan Arkin. The Get Smart TV series and tons of other stuff. This movie only came out 2 years after his small role and co-direction of Heaven Can't Wait. The one big
And wait
movie. In Big Trouble, we have Alan Arkin as Leonard Hoffman, a very underline neurotic accountant who is struggling to get musical triplets into Yale.
I if I had to give a Best Actor award for this movie, I'd give it to him. I found his some of his dialogue legitimately funny, and he actually has a bigger range of and he's more subtle in a lot of ways.
I don't really agree, and we'll get to it. But I have a different candidate for Best Actor in Big Trouble, but you'll see. Oh, you'll see. But don't say anything if you're predicting it. Anyway, Big Trouble was like the last attempt to make Alan Arkin. I mean, attempt. He was a successful man, but the last really starring role as a comedian uh goes way back. He was they tried to replace Peter Sellers in the Pink Panther franchise with Inspector Clouseau in 1968. It's one of the few that what's his face? I'm blanking.
Peter
Julie Andrews'
Sellers.
husband.
Oh, Blake Edwards.
Yeah, Blake Edwards didn't direct Inspector Clouseau. It's like the worst reviewed Inspector Clouseau franchise film.
Alan Arkin plays Inspector Clouseau.
In one movie that was an attempted branch off spinoff that failed miserably.
Alan Arkin doing a French accent then, huh?
Yep, basically doing a Peter Sellers impression. He was in Catch 22 in 1970, The In-Laws of Peter Falk in 1979. he obviously had a second wind as an actor, as a old man character actor in very good roles in Glengarry Glen Ross, and of course the Oscar in Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah. And then in Gloria, even smaller part, Julie Carmen as Jerry Dawn, Jack's wife, who is also in danger from the mob.
Is she
Um,
anything else in the history of her career?
yes, I was gonna get to that. She's very pretty. Never really had a big hit as an actress. Uh, I know her from playing a literary agent type supporting role in the very weird John Carpenter didn't write the script or anything Stephen King adaptation where the book is the actual monster, and it's called the In the Mouth of Madness. It's okay. Mild recommend.
Oh, isn't it? I don't think I've seen any of the John Carpenter has a trilogy of apocalyptic stuff or
We saw the
something.
thing.
Oh, that's part of the trilogy.
The thing in the one about the dark goo in the Catholic Church. What's the one called? Prince of Darkness.
I think it was called The Dark Goo in the Catholic Church.
That's a great movie. I mean, you'd like it at least.
What's it called?
The Prince of Darkness, I think.
Hmm. Sounds like a mom movie like Gloria, but
No, it's a apocalyptic sci-fi movie. It's very good. And then yeah, okay, that's about it. Julie Carmen, small resume. Uh in Big Trouble, we have Beverly D'Angelo. I hate saying that last name. As a Blanche
Angela.
Blanche Rickey, Steve's wife, who gets Leonard in the quote unquote murder scheme. Obviously, she's mostly known to everyone. That's all I have. That's all I have here is Ellen Griswold and the OG National Lampoon Vacation movies.
What's the
It's
first name of the guy who signed Jackie Robinson? The GM who signed
the
Jackie Robinson?
Branch.
Wow. Blanche Branch.
It must be
Wow.
the screenwriter must have either intentionally or unintentionally done that.
Jackie Robinson's responsible for Big Trouble. I've always said Jackie Robinson was nope. I'm not gonna finish that joke. I was gonna say worth more trouble than he is, but no, that's not funny.
There's no good. There's
Funny. Okay,
only
funny.
bad jokes come out of that comparison. It's a good thing he died before he could see Big Trouble, etc., etc. Anyway, I was gonna say, Big Trouble came out a year after European Vacation, and only 11 years before Vegas Vacation. Both of those were better than Big Trouble, but obviously,
She's kind of yeah. I think she's a talented actress. She got put in a lot of dumb movies.
yeah, she's kind of thought more as a I don't know beauty more than an actress in a way. I don't know. It's kind of describe it. Yeah.
Well, especially with National Lampoon, the comic hot girl. I don't know. Well, she's not supposed to be that funny per se, but just
Well, Chevy Chase always bad with letting women be funny. But, yeah, yeah.
Chevy Chase is battling anyone be funny except for Chevy Chase.
And even that's highly debatable. See you at the Razzies several times in the future, Chevy Chase. Okay, in Gloria, we have is it just John Adams or is it John Adamaze or is it
I don't know. He is he Puerto Rican? Oh, no, I don't. Let's just call him Adams. I guess it could be Adams because he's. I'm sure he was cast because he's a Puerto Rican youth, right? You would think.
hard to say because he retreated from public life after this movie came out, as we'll get into at some point. But he plays Phil Don, Jack and Jerry's very young son, who Gloria has to protect from the mob. Like I said, he retired from acting after one role, and he may or may not still be managing a billiards hall in New Jersey. Chose the civilian life, basically. Yeah.
Wow. He becomes a successful business. I guess he could be a successful businessman managing pool halls technically, but
If he owns the land, it's a good start. You know what they say? It's good to own land because they're not making any more of it.
that that sounds like something someone would say. But
It's an actual
okay.
business saying. I sort of rushed through it, but
You set it up like you're doing a comedic bit there, and then
Well, it's kind of hacky because it's a business thing, but yeah, it's that's because land is more of a commodity than anything else. But
economic talk with Marcus and Jason.
stocks,
Stonks. That's right.
bonds. Okay, and then
Liquid.
finally, last cast member in Big Trouble, we have Charles Darning.
So,
She What? You say
finish.
something?
No, I was interrupting your Charles Durning
Hi.
menace.
He's a very eccentric character actor. He usually plays over the top versions of himself in comedies or slightly controlled versions of himself in dramas. Like he can play a cop in Dog Day Afternoon, or he can play the bad guy in the Muppet movie.
You also played a cop in this thing.
He's got a good cop thing. Like, well, A's
Oh,
fat, but also doesn't give a shit.
probably going too far here, but I love Charles Durning. He's just in so many wonderful movies,
He's a good
and he
actor.
okay, but it's especially like the Muppet movie with I gotta get those frog legs and the Hudsucker Proxy when he is the angel and he has ukulele and goes my little chickadee or whatever to Tim Robbins as he's about to about to fall on the ground at the end.
He does look like W.C. Fields actually a little bit.
Yeah, he aged into elderly acting well with Oh Brother Where Art Thou. He had a tremendous career. And then so he gets reduced, as the poster talk implies. His main thing is he's tied up for a prolonged time in a bizarre tie-up outfit.
Yes, we'll talk more about the great range of Charles Durning as the categories come out. But yes, all right, let's go into a little more of the not quite awards yet, but comparisons. Let's do some breakdowns. Okay, let's compare titles of films. Uh, Wait, yeah,
Okay, pretty simple.
yeah. Gloria is very straightforward. It's like this is the best character in the movie. She's gonna get nominated for an Oscar, name the movie after her. And then Big Trouble is like one of the worst titles. It's super generic, and you might as well call the movie like this is gonna be a fun comedy.
Double Indemnity, but funny in quotes question mark.
Double come them. And then bonus points for how bad the title is of Big Trouble, of course, is that it's very easy to confuse it, especially with Google, with the 2002 Barry Sonnenfeld movie about Tim Allen and a bomb on a plane, which was way better than this movie. Yeah,
It's not a good title either because Big Troll's too vague.
yeah, and
Was
also
that movie with Danny DeVito and Martin Lawrence called "What's the Worst That Could Happen"? It's a category of titles where it's comedy trying to sell the comedy with the title.
you got nothing else. So and then another problem with Google, which is weird, is that this came out the same year as Big Trouble in Little China. So Google thinks I'm trying to put Big Trouble in Little China when I put Big Trouble in 1986. So it's like they could have fixed that. They should have seen the title Trouble then, not even like in hindsight. We're talking 1986.
Even like a lame title like Money Problems would have been.
Or even like something with Double Indemnity. I mean, Double Indemnity with jokes is a dumb title, but it'd be better than this. But, yeah.
Well, you saw that Columbia was trying to make this movie and they didn't own the rights to Double Indemnity, so it led to problems to begin with.
That's weird because they still rip off the plot.
There's a thing I don't get to it now, but
Probably might as well get to it now.
they exchanged the Back to the Future script to allow them to do Double Indemnity references in this movie.
This comedy about a kid traveling back to the 50s and meeting his parents, it's shit. You know what I need? Peter Falk and Alan Arkin rambling for an hour and a half.
Michael J. Fox, no future for this kid. Give me the double indemnity. I
Man.
guess at that point, Eric Stoltz was cast, but anyways,
Okay, let's talk. We have time for this. Let's compare the posters. Got the Gloria poster behind me. I'm not a big fan of taking the same image and imposing it three times or whatever, but it's effective for like, this is a crime thriller and there's 3-to-1 cops and stuff. I mean, it's a solid poster. And then we have to take a break, but try to do this now. Let's see. I want to switch the poster now. So here we go. I'm vamping. I'm vamping. Vamping. Vamping.
Brand.
Oh, I'm talking words. The fear to get. Oh, here we go. All right,
On if you refill your
so
drink.
yeah, you can see it. This is one of the worst posters ever made because it's not Photoshop like the 86. What would you call it? Like layered editing, composite shot. I don't know, but
Uh,
no one's in the room together.
yeah, it would have to be some sort of type of
And then
editing. Go
and then I
ahead.
wrote, and I think this is true. The suits that they put on Peter Falk and what's it make no sense. They look like they're in a mob comedy. Like
That's actually a tribute to Double Indemnity. It's the same exact suit, that type of suit that Fred McMurray, is that his name?
yeah, I mean, I saw Double Indemnity. I was not like, oh, the Double Indemnity suit. Yeah,
I noticed it.
but it's done for the poster. It looks like Married to the Mob. Look, it literally looks like Married to the Mob.
Married to the Mob came out later, didn't it? Or was it
Yeah, but it
before?
just looks like that to me. And
Big Trouble, ahead of its time. I always said
then
it.
I want to. We're gonna obviously Charles Durning did get tied up in the movie, but the way it's shot here in this picture kind of looks like a potato from a Devo album, like a potato with a head on it or something. A very very odd shape.
Like a hospital patient getting shock treatment, which he does not in this
Gotta
movie.
get shock treatment. I just
On
singing
that note,
along.
on that note, we take a break into
Yeah. Let's compare the taglines of the movie. So Gloria, there's the shorter version. She attempted to beat the mob at their own game. And then there's the long version, which is she's tough, but she sides with the little guy. And she's out to beat the mob at their own game. So
I don't know. I
it's a little
don't
silly for the movie.
These taglines where the poster is obvious that there's a kid involved. But I guess it is to the extent she goes to because she sides with the kid because it's not her own son is the point. I guess.
It's true that she is tough. She does beat
Oh
them
yeah,
out with their own game over and over again. So I mean, it's all fair. It's just kind of like everyone's review of Gloria. The boy is a little weird. The movie's good.
yeah.
And then so technically, Big Trouble. I don't think this is true. It says it didn't have a tagline according to Google, but I did copy the line on the poster, which is in the next 48 hours, the people below will find themselves in a big scheme to get big money. And that will land them in big trouble. Because this is the post using the title as the end of the sentence. Very cheesy. It is kind of accurate to the movie, but it's a little vague because big scheme, big money.
Tagline should draw you in. It shouldn't be a IMDb log line.
To be fair, it might not have been the official tagline, but it was on the poster, so that's pretty bad. But,
Well, they're both on the poster, Gloria and Big Trouble. So it's just
I know, but IMDb, well, it's probably just because Gloria is a better reviewed movie, but they listed an official tagline for Gloria, not for Big Trouble. I'm gonna stop belaboring that point. Whatever. The Big Trouble one's lame. We all agree. Yes. And the movie can't really match the implied stakes of big scheme, big money. It's neither of those things. Looks like your chicken clock is good.
Sorry, I'm getting try to turn off notifications and getting pinged by people.
Uh,
Sorry.
it's okay. Uh, compare the trailers. I mean, everyone listening or watching this should just watch the Gloria trailer. It's that good. It takes the best action scenes in the movie and stitches them together with really strong acting from Gena Rowlands, just like the movie. Uh, I thought it was so well edited that Cassavetes must have at least had a pass pass at it or watched it or something because it was ridiculously awesome. And then yeah, the big trailer trouble, the big trailer trouble. Yeah, that's funny. The big trouble trailer. See what I did there? They just cut together a bunch of long dialogue scenes. It was one of the worst trailers I ever watched. It was accurate to watching the movie, but it's like, why would you sell a movie like this?
Well, someone who works in the business. I have a process question for you, I guess, that you may not be able to answer, but does do trailers work that the whole movie gets made and then someone gets hired to take a pass at making it appealing to viewers in a couple minute format that doesn't spoil anything, I guess?
So based on
Instead
my film school, film studies knowledge, I would say most people are like that, where it's like the director has no hand in the poster and the tagline and the including the trailer. There are exceptions. Stanley Kubrick put a in all of his movies he had to edit the trailer himself. That's why his trailers are awesome. Like we just talked about this in the podcast before, but his trailer for The Shining is just he shot blood coming out of an elevator, and he's like, "This is The Shining." And I was like, no director would do that nowadays. It would just be the marketing
should be,
department.
and I don't want to go on this too long because I'll get on my manuals at Cloud rant, but movies might have been arguably better in this era of time, 70s, 80s. Obviously, not Big Trouble, but the trailers show way. They try to tell the whole story in a trailer in this era. I feel like modern trailers are better, and the Kubrick trailers, guys, is a perfect example of trailers should be a tease to get you interested, and then you learn everything when you're watching the film.
Yeah, I agree. I think yeah, it was just different expectation of the time, I guess, that like audiences wanted to know what they were seeing when they saw the movie for whatever reason. But, yeah, I agree though. Uh, let's get really wacky and start comparing the opening and closing image of the movie. What? Okay, yeah. Uh, so kind of like the trailer, very meticulous Cassavetes editing of the opening image. Because first of all, you have and we talked about this off air, but the very Spike Lee do the right thing where he shot a separate sequence for the opening titles with like graffiti on the brick with the
Yeah.
cast name on it and stuff. And there's a really cool effect where one of the images is of the New York skyline, and it becomes the real New York skyline, and then it becomes cars driving on the street, and then it becomes the bus that whatever the wife who's gonna die in 5 minutes is on. It was such a little thing, and it was so meticulously well done. The transition from the graffiti to the bus. Do you remember
Yeah.
that? Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Graffiti transition, not necessarily, but yeah, it was well shot, but it's kind of become cliche at this point. Maybe it was fresh in 1980, but an homage to the city of New York opening shots.
Yeah, I mean, it fits the topic of the movie, which is that New York City's full of criminals.
Well, it works too because arguably with New York more than any other city in the history of cinema, it's not true of all movies, but certain movies, the city kind of acts as a character in a way,
Yep.
where
It's,
it
you know,
presents unique obstacles, the way the city's built to the to the story, um, with the subways and the slammed together apartments. Um,
Yeah, the apartment that Phil Don and his family lives in, the flop house they stay in, the nicer hotel room they stay in, the subway sequences, the train depot. There's a lot of meticulous. Cassavetes is a very good screenwriter, or when he wants, for he should have done more action movies, honestly. But anyway, very meticulous use of the New York setting in the plot. But, yeah, and then
it's
the
kind of
closing. What? Huh?
which made Big Trouble so shocking because his whole career is basically being. I just want to say this word. I don't think it's the best word. Anti-disestablishmentarianism, where he's kind of anti how everyone else does things and wants to present a grittier, uh, show more of how poor people go through life type of deal. Um, so he wasn't interested in doing a big budget action movie, even though he was a star in the Dirty Dozen, you know.
I mean, Gloria isn't a big budget action movie, but it's a very effective action movie. But
It's
action
just narrow,
elements.
narrowing scope to much narrower in scope to action movies at the time because it was only a couple years later that like what Rambo First Blood came out or whatever. Is
Rambo First Blood Part Two, I think it was called.
that the one where he's in America?
First one's called Rambo, or I think no, it's actually called First Blood. I think.
Yeah, and then First Blood Part Two, he's in Vietnam, right?
Yeah, I thought that's what you're alluding to, the spectacle action
Oh,
movie at the
I was referring to the first one because it's closer in time to
maybe
the
that was
release.
before, that might have been before Gloria. I don't want to talk about Rambo anymore. Uh, anyway, uh, the closing image of Gloria is Gloria escapes in her old woman outfit, and they
Meet up at the
she
cemetery,
hugs
and
the boy at the Pittsburgh cemetery.
it's very cheesy, but it's a sometimes cheese is well deserved for weird way to say it, but they go through so much. And
Yes.
that movie kind of needed a happy ending because if it didn't, it'd be kind of like I watched a great movie, but thanks for the punch in the gut, Cassavetes. Just because there's too much tension throughout the whole movie, you know.
Yeah. I mean, we would have lived if Gloria died and the kid lived. I mean, but whatever. Yeah, yeah.
Well, anything close to the mob winning per se would have been, I think, a little too brutal. I think, but
Probably. Although I would have fit the theme of the movie, which is that you can't argue with the mafia when they come to you.
Don Branzini says you can't keep going everywhere and shooting people. Like,
She,
but
she, she pretty
we
much
kind
does.
of think
But I was gonna say, yeah, it's a pretty good match from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie because the beginning of the movie, uh, the Mrs. Dawn, Jerry Dawn, I guess, is like frantic, like, oh, what's gonna happen with my family? And then the end of the movie is like they've they're happy and they've escaped. So it's like it's a good flip of a coin. Um Shockingly, Big Trouble is not as well organized as Gloria. I don't know if you noticed this. John Cassavetes, I guess it's kind of his thing. Question mark. He used the same color scheme of the opening of Gloria on the opening titles of Big Trouble, just on the names. But it was like they're going past Alan Arkin's house, and it's like a orange and green graffiti behind everyone's name.
hmm.
Just a Cassavetes
I think
trademark,
they'll
I
kind of
guess. But
mention
yeah.
it.
Anyway, the very chaotic, like the whole movie opening shot. Alan Arkin in his bathrobe in his house.
Well, he's semi-dressed. He's basically got all of his clothes on except his suit and tie, his suit jacket and tie, finishing up his calculating the finances to try to figure out how he can pay for the triplet musical prodigies going to Yale.
Which he said he like stayed up all night for like 2 weeks in a row or something. I don't know, it was a little weird. Yeah, and then those kids singing a cappella classical music. Uh, I cannot watch this movie again because of that. That was a
If
lot.
I feel like if I was a professional musician, which these kids are
Excuse me.
professional musician, like these kids were gonna be, um, I would probably be humming a lot.
Hopefully not as loudly.
No, probably with the family eating breakfast, I wouldn't be doing that. Although
Yeah.
it seems Valerie Curtin's character, the wife, is kind of encouraging it.
Well, even Alan Arkin likes it because it's like the idea that his kids are successful or going to be successful or they're nice kids or whatever. Yeah.
They get to pursue their passion, so that they want to encourage that.
Anyway,
Which,
go ahead.
which I do want to give this movie. It didn't achieve it, so I can't give it credit. But there was a potential here for pursuing the classist theme that I think the beginning of the movie does better than the rest of the movie, where it's them versus Robert Stack character and people like him. Because I really thought the juxtaposition of the suburban home and Robert Stack going into the vault to get the super nice gold pottery and stuff was a nice juxtaposition. They could have done more with that, but then they decided to go in a different terrible direction.
It's a nice juxtaposition. It's a little basic. It's like, oh, I'm rich and you're poor. But yeah,
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. It's better. To state the obvious, the movie ruins that because Peter Falk is insanely rich and he co-ops Alan Arkin into his plot to get general money from an insurance policy.
it's a much. This is kind of a remake of Double Indemnity, although they
But
endings are way.
okay, but if this is Double Indemnity, then the the murder victim in Double Indemnity would have teamed up with Fred McMurray to go on an adventure.
That was the twist. So it wasn't exactly like it. I was gonna say the ending's different, but the build to "Let's kill your husband" was much slower and more well thought out than Big Trouble.
I,
Shocker, the classic film noir did better in that regard
I
than
thought the movie was, I wouldn't say it was good, but it was cohesive before Peter Falk is not dead and is fully aware of what Alan Arkin is doing, and they're just talking to each other the whole movie. That was unbearable. We'll get into more of that with the dialogue and the awards and stuff. Keep going. Anyway, the end of the movie is another chaotic, random-ish scene. There's the classical music triplets play a concert at their own ceremony hosted by Robert Stack to get the kids in the ale, and then Alan Arkin, in a very playful way, tries to murder Peter Falk for a second.
oh my God, I don't know if the whole scene was improv. It was just Peter Falk's gonna get up to kiss Alan Arkin's wife, and then didn't he might have kissed Beverly D'Angelo. Alan Arkin may have kissed Beverly D'Angelo, and then they're just swarming around each other, talking and gesturing. It was so random and weird. While the credits are going, by the way, it's just
Yeah, pretty much.
they did not know how to end the darn thing.
Yep, and that's why Warren Bogle wrote the script and not Andrew Bergman.
Although they did hint at a sequel. Do you think that was real? That was real that they were.
I was gonna say that I don't know how serious it was. If it was just the editor slash not Cassavetes for sure, but whoever was in charge of the editing, maybe it was the producer. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if it was to be funny and be like, oh, we need a joke at the end because it's not this movie's not working. Put a joke at the end because not only was there no big trouble too. Obviously, this John Cassavetes retired from directing, so a horrible sequel tease. I don't think I've ever seen one that sad. Like even like Masters of the Universe when Skeletor's like, I'll be back. There was no like horrible thing that happened afterwards. Anyway, so
Yes. Oh, I was supposed to say this movie had two editors, which is very strange.
yeah.
I
So,
don't know if they're
I mean,
working together.
it is strange, but it could just be a normal thing where the one guy had to leave and it was taking too long or something, or could be guy was fired, or I don't know. There's not a lot of research for Big Trouble because no one cares. Yeah.
I wonder if they're working together or if it was a fire one and put another one in situation.
I think usually if there's only one head editor. They don't give credit to the sidekick editor.
Unless they fire one mid-production or something, or
Yeah, there's only one editor, even if there's people, one day like me who sit in an office and do little things underneath. Anyway, all to say is the opening and closing kind of match because with Alan Arkin stressed at the beginning and then you think he's not stressed at the end and he is stressed. So it's there's some kind of matchy there, but whatever. Okay, yeah. Okay, move on
the
to the
conflict gets resolved. Yeah, by the end
but
for sure.
the conflict also continues because he hates Peter Falk not shutting up
Well,
all the time, which I would hate him too. Yeah.
it's a new conflict, present potential sequel bait, but the original conflict of how am I going to get my kids to Yale is resolved.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, let's move on. New format, but it's going kind of slow. Okay, let's talk about the awards for both movies. Spoiler alert: Big Trouble not good enough for the Oscars, which is obvious, but also not bad enough for the Razzies. So Big Trouble got no nominations in any category in the history of mankind.
Whereas the Razzie people are just like, I can't finish this, so I'm not going to nominate for any Razzies.
I don't know. I didn't look at the '86 awards, but it's not. In some ways, it's not really a Razzie movie because I mean it is bad, but it's like competent,
Although I have a more
famous
logical theory.
actors.
I have a more logical theory that the Razzie people don't try to watch all of cinema. It just happens to be the things that they watched.
Yeah, I mean it's not it wasn't a hit. It wasn't a financial hit. It did have famous actors in it, but it was kind of like a '70s movie done 10 years later. So it's like there's not a lot of buzz. That's what Razzies love is buzz, controversy, weirdos, like famous people. Anyway, let's talk about Gloria's awards. Gloria won the Golden Lion of the Venice Film Festival in a rare tie with Atlantic City, directed by Louis Malle.
What George show is this?
I just said it's the Golden Lion at the Venice Film Festival.
Did you? You probably haven't. I've actually seen Atlantic City. Beautiful film. Uh, Also mob plot related.
Got Brett Lancaster. Louis Malle.
His job is he helps run a numbers game. So what's your what's your numbers today, Mrs. Blah blah blah.
Let's see.
Excellent.
You want to pick a number? Here's your options. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, moving on. All right,
According to number theory, there's an infinite amount of numbers, so I'll be here all night.
JG Hunsaker. All right, yeah. Yep. I think that concludes the Burt Lancaster impression segment of the show. All right. It was nominated. It's all pretty much almost all Gena Rowlands. Gena Rowlands was nominated for Best Actress at the Golden Globes. Lost to Mary Tyler Moore and Ordinary People. I didn't see Mary Ordinary People, but come on, give it to Gena Rowlands. She tried so hard.
It's kind of, we talked about this before. She's kind of because with blah, blah, blah.
Linda Canada and what's that? Deborah Raffin.
She's kind of wickedly evil in that, but yeah,
And
I
then
can't. I give it to Jenna.
and we talked about this already, but she lost she was nominated but lost the Academy Award to Sissy Spacek for Coal Miner's Daughter. That movie seems a lot more interesting than Ordinary People, but Gena Rowlands all the way.
People love a biopic. You really, and when you can enter, you impersonating a famous person can be a good Oscar bait.
Yeah, obviously, but yeah, whatever. I haven't seen the movie, so it doesn't look bad, honestly. And then now let's talk about the bad stuff. John Adams was nominated for a Stinkers Bad Movie Award for Worst Child Actor. What a horrible idea for a whole category. But lost to, and this is why he lost to Luann Sirota, related to hot Dodgers prospect outfielder Mike Sirota,
Like,
in the movie called Oh God, Book Two. There's no context. Who the fuck is gonna see Oh God, let alone see Oh God Book Two, but then be like, that girl was terrible.
I guess the Sinkers did, but yeah.
Terrible category. And then the reason we're here, uh, at the Razzies in 1980, John Adams co-won Worst Supporting Actor, sharing it with Laurence Olivier in the Jazz Singer. John Adams may be a mediocre actor in Gloria, but he did not cop a race that was not his own.
Yeah. It's still actually acceptable to imitate European accents these days.
Jewish is worse than most Europeans, but yes.
Yeah, might not be allowed anymore.
I want to mention, because I think he's the worst one of the three. Marlon Brando in The Formula was also nominated. Uh, like I think because just Brando's a good actor, and he played a fat weirdo in that movie, and it was really uncomfortable. So I would have picked Marlon Brando of those three. Which one of you would you have picked of those three options?
Who was the oh
Olivier, John Adams, or Marlon Brando? I'm a Southern businessman.
David Selby for Race of Titanic was nominated. I actually like David Selby's performance in that movie,
Much
but
better than the guy who played the adventurer guy. What's his name? Whatever.
oh, he had a very adventurous name. Uh,
Martin Pitt, something Pitt.
Dirk Pitt. Dirk,
Yeah.
even more adventurous. Brando was definitely the worst. He was most lack of effort. John Adams, he's probably trying his best, but he's six. So again, anyone under 18 practically, it's uncomfortable criticizing their acting. I guess teenagers, you know what you're doing better, but
No, I
6 years,
agree. I felt the same way about Brooke Shields winning worst actress. It's just like it's the director's fault, not hers.
yeah, especially 6-year-olds. It's a little blow. Whoa, whoa. I don't know.
Yeah, we agree. It's awkward, but it is at the same time the Razzies did catch the vibe of the movie, which is that everyone's so good in Gloria, and then they made that kid do so much in the movie, and it's kind of awkward. But yeah,
Yeah, I don't understand Cassavetes' decision to give him so much dialogue.
I'm the man. You have to wish it to me.
I was gonna save it because they're doing quotes later, but
Okay, okay, we'll get there. Actually, yeah, you'll see. Anyway, time for trivia. The trivia break. I'm doing this all at once. Uh, normally I would have done this. Okay, anyway, next normal weeks will be 5 questions because there's 2 movies. I did I guess 9 questions. I might have to do 10. It's probably for the best. Anyway, let's do this. We'll do this quick. Okay, questions about Glorias and questions about people who got in big trouble. First question: name the Gloria who is called the Queen of Latin Pop.
Estefan,
Yes. How did Homer Simpson get Lisa in big trouble and disqualified as Little Miss Springfield, according to pageant officials?
there was a field that says "Do not write here," and he wrote "Okay" in that
Yes,
field.
nailed it. Yes. What Gloria is the disco queen?
Gainer.
Yes. What kind of liquor did Marge Simpson accidentally put in her coat pocket, causing her to be arrested?
Whew. They don't show that episode at any reruns.
It's a great episode,
Um,
man.
yeah, yeah. Was it rum?
It's bourbon. There's a longer description, but it's just bourbon. Yeah.
Yeah, they did. Simpsons even today. I don't watch Simpsons anymore, but they always did a good job with their funny trade like product names.
Yeah. What Gloria was the star of Sunset Boulevard?
Like Swanson.
The trivia questions got small. Uh, what does Lisa Simpson steal from Springfield Elementary in the episode Separate Vocations, almost getting her detention?
The teacher's editions for all the books.
Yes. of the textbooks, yes. What Gloria was a foundational feminist of the 1970s.
Steinem.
Yes. This one's dumb, but whatever. I want to write a question about it. Mona Simpson got in big trouble for the first time when she and her group invaded a facility owned by Mr. Burns to stop what specific type of weapon?
Nuclear.
Biological warfare.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Moving
and then
on.
what Gloria, it was a self-aggrandizing feminist lawyer of the late 20th century, appearing on talk shows like Morton Downey Jr. and various MSNBC programs.
She had a long run, always representing women testifying. Allred.
Yes. I meant to write another Simpsons question, but I forgot. I
No.
forget. All right. So now we're going into the idea was we just raced through that first half of the show, and then now we go into the awards slash discussion section. So if you want to have any digressions, bring up points that I'm not bringing up. Go ahead. But anyway, um, so we're not at the full awards yet, but let's do first the technical Oscars section of the awards, where we rate both movies on I guess, a scale of 1 to 10, unless you have something better. I don't know. For the
Maybe we could do
technical,
that numbers later, but I guess we could try numbers today. Just say if it's good or bad. I think that's fine, but
yeah, fine, okay. Yeah, I guess, yeah, good or bad with any qualifications that are needed, but try to go like relatively fast. I don't know, whatever. Uh, Cinematography. Gloria is excellent. I mean, it's pretty short.
yeah.
And Big Trouble is broad and lazy. It's a lot of wide setups for dialogue.
And now that I think about it, the camera moved around weirdly.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff with the train scene and and the morgue. They tried some like experimental slanted cameras and stuff, I guess. I don't know.
um, yeah, it's actually weird that the cinematographer in Glory is a non-linker on Wikipedia.
Yep. Uh, Film editing, Gloria. I mean, there's a little bit of slowdown because it's the stuff with the kid, but the action and it's just impeccable. It's 11 out of 10. I fucking love that thing where she holds the well, we get the scenes later, but on the subway holding the gun at the guy, like, I mean, it's great shit. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
George C. Villaseñor, who is not another non-linker on
And then Big
Wikipedia.
Trouble, my God, it felt like they never cut any scene like there was just keep going until we stop talking.
Which again, the antithesis of how a John Cassavetes movie looks and feels, where it's always tight cuts, uh, and you feel their emotions better than this movie. Again, it's
That's more Andrew Bergman, but it's just the dialogue's way worse. And Cassavetes did a lot of improv in his movies and stuff, so it's not just different. But uh, sound.
Cassavetes.
What? Go ahead.
Just want to say, Cassavetes called out the editing of how this film was edited, which is part of the reason why he disowned it.
Yeah, he probably, I don't know what he would have done, but he probably would have cut it down. Yeah. Uh, sound design. Gloria's great, very organic, urban gunshots. I mean, I don't know, it's good. And then
That big, nice 70s sound like Peck and Paw film. Kind of that Peck and Paw, not as well as Peck and Paw, but I guess Peck and Paw is really loud. We could criticize for that almost to that point, but yeah, to that, it's good. It's good action sound.
yeah, it's cinematic. It feels small on a TV or on a computer. Sound on Big Trouble. I mean, the score's too loud, and there's not really much sound design at all, really.
No, you know, most notable sound I can think of is this might be in your quotes, but Alan Arkin says when they choke Peter Falk to death, or what they think is to death. Um, he says he didn't make a sound, and then she says he did. He did make a sound. It was kind of like
I isolated. That was actually kind of funny, but yeah, yeah.
it was. She kind of does exactly like that in the movie, so I laughed when she did it.
Yeah, yeah. And then this movie, this is like pre-visual effects, but that's a category I have. Um, a lot of practical setups and edits to cover like a car being flipped over because of a gunshot in Gloria and stuff. So that's effective.
What kind
Uh,
of?
there's
Sorry.
oh, that's okay. Big Trouble. They don't really go for anything. Even the jumping off a train scene. It's not like there's not much effects. Mhm.
Oh, effects. That, yeah, not really disgusting. They don't really go in that direction. I guess Big Trouble. Sorry, they do have some set pieces in Big Trouble, like jumping off a train and stuff. That's not really special effects. Um, but yeah, the way they shoot the car flipping when she shoots all the people in the car in that one scene, and
Yeah, that was awesome. That was like, yeah. Spoiler for awards. That's my favorite scene in the movie.
um, I guess that's like the closest thing to like special effects because a lot of them running and shooting.
Yeah, both movies are very obviously because effect. I mean, 86 especially is well after Star Wars. I mean, there's some stuff going on, but not a lot. Yeah. All right. Uh, production design. I don't think they had to do a lot for Gloria, but that being said, no, they did. All the like hotel sets and indoor spaces looked really nice, well articulated, clean. I love the flop house. And then Big Trouble is kind of messy. Like they just went to places they could film, like the drugstore and Alan Arkin's house, and we're just like, oh, there's lots of stuff here. That'll be funny.
There's multiple mansions. Peter Falk has a mansion.
Robert
Uh,
Stack has a giant staircase with nothing else in it.
what are you doing with my Michelangelo?
They just we're gonna I guess we'll talk about scenes at some point, but they just stand there in the shadows for like 5 minutes while like, the whole happy birthday song is sung. It's just incredibly awkward.
Yeah. The morgue is somewhat offensive because it's like, is it a Mexican morgue? It's really janky and a little tech.
And the makeup that they put on Peter Falk like he's dead, it just looks like a gay man. I don't know. It's weird. It's awkward.
Yeah.
Uh, makeup and hairstyling. They did a really good job on Gloria with Gena Rowlands. I have a note on my scenes, but in the flop house when she has like her hair, she washed her hair and stuff is like really effective, mimicking reality stuff. But yeah, yeah.
And she really has gaudy lipstick, which doesn't make her look the best, I suppose. If we're
I
just
think it's
gonna,
realistic to the character though. But
who's
yeah.
gonna get
Sorry, go
there?
ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
It's her character well, and she's someone who's an ex-mob woman like that, ex-mob wife or girlfriend or like that. You do gaudy beauty things that, oh, if I put a ton of lipstick on, I'm pretty type of things. It's realistic to the portrayals of the mob woman and other things.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot to do because it was mostly guys in suits and men. But yeah. And then Big Trouble, there's literally no attempt to do anything clever with makeup or anything. Even the morgue scene, they barely put a little bit of white on Peter Falk's face when he's supposed to pretend he's dead. Like it was just so lazy.
Beverly Angel has nice hair at times, but it's just a pretty girl. I don't know, whatever. Yeah. If there's a Razzie for worst makeup, that powder powder face was pretty terrible.
Yeah. And then time for at least one more award. Costumes. Uh Gloria keeps it pretty realistic, which is
Oh,
effective.
I loved her costumes, her nighttime robes in particular,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the dragon
and
on the neck. Yeah.
her business suits that she runs around in to uh I think they dress her very well. And I guess I kind of like John Adamas's shirt, although he never changed his clothes, so it's gotta be really stinky.
It looks like a miniature version of like Disco Stew or something. He's got like a multicolored flat floral print uh dress shirt.
but I don't know if it truly is a Puerto Rican type clothes, but it looked like Puerto Rican type wear, I guess.
It was it definitely fit the 70s in general. Kids were expected to dress a little more normatively in New York, I imagine. And then Big Trouble, it's one of the few positives. It's not a great positive, but I don't know, colorful dresses and suits and stuff. It was fine. Eh.
Yeah, the women try to dress to impress because it's portraying richness, even not really truly rich. Although I don't think they needed the whole ivory trader outfit for uh, Peter Falk in the beginning. That was weird.
Oh yeah, we'll get to his Mexican Chinese people. What a teaser after the break. Woo-hoo. All right, I'm trying to something new on the podcast. This is our own awards. Let's just get underway and see how this goes. This first up is best scenes in Gloria and worst scenes in Big Trouble. Here are the nominees for best scene in Gloria: the aforementioned opening credits. The painting becomes New York City. Then we have Gloria popping up with her gun and shooting down the green car full of mafiosos, which then flips over. We have a more dramatic scene, the flop house scene, with Gloria trying to fall asleep in her pajamas after she washed her hair. We got a bunch of other mafia shootouts. We've got the date, quote unquote, with the mob boss near the end of the movie, the shooting up at the elevator, and the celebratory hug at the graveyard between John Adams and Gloria. One of those or something else? What do you think is the best scene?
I guess I'd have to go with the elevator because I've never seen anything like that before. But I have seen cars flip over, I think, for shooting purposes. But uh, the way she pulls out her gun so unexpectedly and starts shooting, I'll go with that one.
Yeah, I'll probably go with the flophouse scene because it's very Oscar type acting. She's tired from the long day. She's trying to be friendly with the little kid. It's a very well acted scene. Although, I mean,
Surprised you picked that because it features so much of John Damas's awkward dialogue you're talking about, where it's like, is
yeah,
that the one that says, "You're my mother, you're my father, you're my girlfriend, you're my."
it's hard to tell. The scenes blend together. Uh, there's another scene I think I should have put here, but it'll come up in the quotes section, so we'll get to that. Okay. Here are the nominees for worst scene in Big Trouble. Aforementioned opening scene with Leonard at his desk, only because of the three kids loudly singing in the next room. The very odd sequence of Peter Falk with a bunch of Chinese people in his truck, coding them as if they're illegal immigrant Mexicans. Very odd. And then Peter Falk having a heart attack at the drugstore. There's a brief moment of Alan Arkin feigning he's gonna vomit at the office. Lovely.
And he does vomit in the when he try this sardine liqueur.
A very underrated,
He spits
horrible
it up. He
scene.
doesn't vomit, but
What? Say it again.
I guess he spits it up. He doesn't vomit, but
Yeah, it's all fun. Very underrated, terrible scene. Charles Durning is investigating, and there's a black guy there, and he goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And then the black guy goes, "Who the fuck are you?" And they go back and forth.
is that the terrorist, right?
Yeah, I think so.
He's not really investigating. He's just trying to. But I guess
Yeah,
Best,
It was just awkward because he's only gonna fucking go to black guy, but and then oh yeah, as I mentioned, the whole fucking happy birthday song being sung by Robert Stack at his dark house. I guess it's supposed to be moody, but because of the birthday. And then Peter Falk and Alan Arkin are just standing in the shadows, like 3 feet away, for a very long time. Okay, and then finally, Peter Falk and Alan Arkin having a weird fist fight at the end of the movie. Yeah. So one of those or something else.
I spoiled my award here because I was criticizing it before, but I have to give it to the Rex Hall drugstore heart attack because I think with comedy and serious illness, it's a fine line to be funny with it. And it's too long, too many different faces, and they're not even he's clearly not pretending to actually have a heart attack. He's just pretending to have faces. It was bad acting all together. It's just whoever was editing or directing this movie, because I guess it's debatable who was doing what, um, should have not allowed that to be in the movie. It's so awful.
For me, it's a tie for related reasons. The Chinese people on the truck being coded as Mexicans was uncomfortable,
They're
and
not.
then
How are they coded as Mexicans? He calls them Chinese the whole time.
because they're like semi-illegal farm laborers in the back. I think it was supposed to be a juxtaposition joke. Apparently, you don't think so, but fine.
They gave me way too much credit. I took it how they said it, but
Still
okay.
racist. I'm not giving it credit, but yes, I was interpolating something there. Yes, and then tied with Charles Durning yelling at the black guy because that made me. I lost a lot of respect for the movie there because it's just like there's just no dialogue in the movie. Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
Well, the whole terrorist thing. If you have an award for weirdest side plot, randomly
Weirdest
thrown
plot
in.
point that is like often ignored and the stupid. Yes. Okay, here's the best quotes from Gloria and worst quotes from uh yeah, Big Trouble. Okay, okay, we're getting there.
Okay.
Who's the family? Okay, best quotes from Gloria. Arguably my favorite scene in the movie is Gloria on the subway pointing a gun at a mafioso. He's like, "Test me, please, test me." And then she gets off the train. She's like, "You're gonna let a woman beat you, huh?" That was fucking awesome. Give her the fucking Oscar. Get time machine. And then I just put this here because I like the scene, but Gloria says to John Adams in the flop house, with that physique, how could I resist you? I don't know, whatever. And then
Cute.
yeah, and then anything from her date scene with the Don, that was probably the most like effective plot based dialogue in the movie. One of
Calling
those
it,
or something else. What? Sorry, what?
keep calling it a date scene. It's clearly a meeting to arbitrate the situation.
I think the movie intentionally because she dated a mafioso in the past, and I think the movie is sort of
Well, no, she dated him. You get that, right? That was her boyfriend.
yeah. There was a date like element to that scene.
Hey, you just said dated a mafioso in the past. That's the mafioso she dated in the past.
I'm saying that scene felt a little bit like a date. That's my opinion. One of those, something
Anyway,
else.
clearly it's the Dirty Harry, maybe after Dirty Harry, but still, it's very effective type like scene in the subway is the clear winner here.
Great dialogue, yes. Time for my worst quotes from Big Trouble. I could have done like twice as much of these. Uh, Peter Falk says he looked like a linguine with red clam sauce.
Yep, that's a lot of zingers as that lawyer.
Alan Arkin says to his wife, "I did something for the boys, but it's very unusual. I can't talk." And then,
Mhm.
and then Alan Arkin says, "Do we have cream soda in the house?" And then his wife says, "No one has cream soda in their
In their fridge, but
in
yeah.
the fridge." Yeah, and then we covered this already. But Peter Falk says, "I'm having a heart attack. Can you stand between me and my wife so no one can see?" And then again, Peter Falk again. These Chinese men don't know any English, but they're great to be around. And then I have a special quote category. There's nothing to moo about. That's a line said to Alan Arkin because he does this thing where he just says weird noises.
Yeah, he gets nervous. He has a tick where he gets high pitched or makes weird noises. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Peter Falk, I'm gonna bend over. If you agree, touch the small of my back. They're talking in the middle of the road. He bends over. I don't remember why, but
I have a couple other nominees.
one more. Sorry. And
Uh,
then Peter Falk at the end of the movie at Alan Arkin's kids recital. Do you feel like your life has gotten better since you met me?
that's pretty good.
Go ahead.
Uh, when I said that when he was the lawyer, pretending to be a lawyer in that one scene, he's walking out of the room with Beverly D'Angelo and he says, "Want a bowl of soup?" Do you remember
Terrible. No, I don't remember.
that? Eh, it's probably can't be worse quote because uh, it's actually kind of clever because they're stealing the Michelangelo statue. And then he says, "Did you see the agony and the ecstasy?"
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of clever, but not yeah.
And he says, "A very long time ago, it was like a beautiful film, wasn't it?" And yeah, it actually might be too good actually for nominations.
All right. Oh, you got more?
One more. Um, at the very beginning, because before he actually meets Peter Falk, he sees a portrait of him with his Crocodile Dundee, with that tiger stripe on the hat thing,
Yeah.
in a portrait. He says, because she says, "Isn't he a beautiful man?" And then he says, wait, he says, "He looks like a beautiful soul."
That was pretty dumb too. Yeah, there's not. Do you have a winner out of that group?
I feel like I should combine. I'm gonna give it a tie because it's the same scene. And he looked like linguine with red clam sauce, and then I want a bowl of soup.
Okay. Just for sentimentality, I have to give it to. Do we have cream? I can't. I'm doing the wrong impression. Do we have cream soda in the fridge? Because that was the when I started writing down quotes because that was just so weird.
I have, I have to go to 7-Eleven to get it. Get me something crunchy.
In a better movie, that would have been cute, but it was just random. All right, time for another category. This is for Gloria. Is there anyone in the movie? This is the high point of their career, never to be surpassed. And for Big Trouble, is it anyone? It's the low point of their movie. They never did anything worse. Uh, so I have two candidates for Gloria. John Adams, just because he never did another movie, so this is a pretty
Kind
good
of a
movie to
tough
be
off,
in.
but
Yeah,
okay.
and then Gena Rowlands because it was a starring movie, excellent performance, excellent movie, got nominated for the Academy Award, and basically receded into a character actress after this.
I guess John Adamas, because I can't give it to Jen Rollins because as good as she is in this movie and she got nominated for Best Actress, her totality of her career is what makes her so remarkable, this
Yeah.
included.
And then I only have one candidate for Big Trouble. Maybe you'll think of someone else, but John Cassavetes. This ended his career, arguably killed him in part, and his other movies were so good that just by a comparison, this is like the worst thing he's ever done by far. This is disastrous for his career. I mean, not that it hurt his career, but it hurt his productivity. Anyone else, or is that it?
No, this didn't really sink anyone's career. Actually, it's really subtle, but this is one of the last films, I believe, of Valerie Curtin, but she has a very minor part being the husband of Alan Arkin. Sorry, the wife that
Yeah.
Arkin. She was actually married to Barry Levinson, and then they broke up before she co-wrote Toys, which may have hurt the relationship even more.
That was the actual low light, I guess. But yeah.
No, I guess yeah, Cassavetes is the clear choice because
Yeah, obviously this is really bad for like Arkin and Falk, but they did so much weird stuff for such a long time that can't say definitively this is the worst movie they were in. But yeah,
No, and they definitely when we were proposing these categories, I thought it was no, I guess it wasn't. We're not saying the death of their career, but
no, just yeah, a little point or whatever. All right, I think we covered it. Now it's time for the Andre Dawson 1988 award for best player in a bad team for Big Trouble. I have uh two candidates. One you'll definitely disagree with. Uh Bill Conti's score. I thought it was fine as like isolated music in an 80s kind of way. And then this is my pick. Uh Charles Durning. It's not a great part in a great movie, but he maintains a sort of regularity as a cop a lot better than the other characters in the movie, and he's not offensively bad. So Charles Durning was like the diamond in the rough for me.
no, well, I can't nominate anyone else because Paul Dooley was fine, but his part was so small. Maybe it was designed to be bigger. Whereas just the guy on the train.
That was kind of funny though, but yeah, it's not too small. Yeah,
No, Charles Durning does a good job. It's not his fault that the costume designer, I guess, wrapped him in that horrible bandage.
and honestly, sorry, go ahead, go ahead.
It was literally ending my sentence, so go ahead.
What's her name? Valerie Curtin, Alan Arkin's wife. She came out pretty good too. It's a very small part also, but yeah, yeah,
But then she's not along for any of the fun. It's the big three of Arkin, Falk, and D'Angelo.
yeah,
And well, I guess then Durning too gets kidnapped, but Valerie Curtin is off in the wings pretty much for this movie.
yeah. And then for Gloria, we have the both of these references are way too obscure for general audience, but Brett Honeywell Jr. in 2024 for the Dodgers, or Garo Yepremian kicking for the Dolphins award, the bad player on a great team slash movie. I have two candidates for Gloria. Uh, Obviously, one candidate is John Adams' childish acting, which is defensible, but not generally well regarded, especially at the time. And I have a sneaky candidate, which is uh, Buck Henry, his wife, and the other kid who hid in the bathroom, just because they're they're credited in the movie, but they're in it for like 2 seconds. So it's like they didn't do anything wrong, but they didn't have a great run in the scheme of things.
Well,
Anything
definitely get.
else?
Oh, go ahead. There's more.
No, that's it. Those are the two. Those are the two candidates. I know this. I know the Buck Henry thing's a little what's the word? Complicated, but whatever. Yeah.
And I think I guess you could argue they don't do well and they're a little tidbit, but it worked well narratively because it helped to lay on the tragedy so thick that a 6-year-old loses mother, father, and sister immediately. If it took 30 minutes, 45 minutes for that to happen, which a lot of movies would do these days,
Yeah.
uh, and I think all three of them do a all job being horrified and loyal to the apartment or whatever. I don't know.
I'm not pitching a change in the movie. I was just saying, yeah, it's kind of a weird part to have in a movie, but yeah, yeah.
So Dobbs is the weak link. I don't think any the Laurence Olivier of 6-year-olds could do a good job in that role. Because forgetting it's a 6-year-old. There is no Laurence Olivier of 6-year-olds.
Yeah. So before we go on to next week's movie, any closing thoughts on either Gloria or Big Trouble?
Yeah, not really. Well, I think we should keep the ranking within the Razzies or whatnot. And
Okay, go ahead and do that. I don't need to score the movie. We both know
I don't know.
high for Gloria, high for low for Big Trouble. Go ahead.
I, I'm I so desperately want to say Gloria is the best Razzie film. I just can't put it past The Shining. And I'm tempted to say it's a tie, but I don't want to tie. Ties are lame. And Big Trouble definitely should have been a Razzie nominee in 1986. Razzie, it just wasn't on the radar, I guess, is the only thing I can think of. I don't think I'd be shocked that they liked the movie.
No, Big Trouble's not really not really Pantheon worthy, Pantheon eligible. I pretty much agree with you. Gloria's floating somewhere up near the top. I have a hard time separating like Shining, Windows, Gloria. They're all kind of up there. Even Cruising, for all of its flaws, just blew me away when I had no idea. I had no idea, and then so all those movies are set up there. And then if I were to rank Big Trouble, it would still be higher. It's a competent bad movie more than a horrific or boring one. I think it's better than Flash Gordon, even on a narrative level.
no, I had legitimate chuckles. So it's not the worst. I would say a movie like Change of Seasons is a worst comedy. And then Blue Lagoon is definitely a worst movie overall, for instance, or like The Formula even. So there's a few that would be nestled in below.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get out of here like we usually do with you trying to guess what our next movie's gonna be. First clue, since it's not a famous movie, I'll just say all the big things. This is a comedy film written by Neil Simon, starring Goldie Hawn, Chevy Chase, Charles Grodin, and Robert Guillaume, with a score by Marvin Hamlish.
It's like Funny Farm.
No, you're in a way you're on the right track, but anyway, hey, it's stupid, but whatever.
Get to it.
Title's four words long. I'm gonna try to get you to guess each word in the title one at a time. First word, synonym for appears.
Shows. Um,
Mm.
Appears, materializes.
Homophone for a line created by knitting.
Seems. Seem.
Seems is the first word. Yes,
An S at the end.
yes. Second word, an approval on Facebook.
Seems like.
Mm-hmm. Third word of four, opposite of young.
Seems like old.
And it's the
Well,
hard one. Fourth word, it's one word, synonym for multiplied by.
seems like old times. So I guess I'm adding it, but naturally, but seems like old
There's no
times.
it, but yes, you got it. Seems like old times. A comedy starring Chevy Chase. I don't know. That's all I know about it.
Go back in time and slap the people who are titling these movies. It seems like old times.
Seems like old times.
In what way? And how is this going to be a narrative story? It's going to be interesting.
No one knows. Seems like old times is available on Amazon technically for free with a 1 week subscription to something called 1 week free trial of a service called Howdy. There's also pay versions on a variety of websites, so check it out, America. Seems like old times. Next week on Twin Bill Razzie. Book me on your shows, or let's be best friends and hang out, maybe. I don't know.